Hey everyone, I am Sagan.
And I'm the Tesla.
And we are...
Oh! Shit! I see bad cameras.
We really put the poopy in spooky.
That sounded insane.
Shocktober. As we go.
Sweet Jesus God.
Hey everyone, it's Sagan from Scientists Say, and welcome to today's Shocktober video. So, this is probably just going to be a one-off, but we always do something a little different on the weekends. And I just recently reread, by listening to the audiobook, Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Not the original title, by the way. And I also watched the 2015 BBC miniseries starring Charles Dance and a whole bunch of other British actors. Absolutely highly recommend that if you've not seen it. It is the only adaptation I've seen that is faithful to the original ending. But that reminded me that there's this game of it, and I've kind of been wanting to check that out. And after a little technical finagling, because it's a 15-year-old game at this point, it didn't kind of want to run, but I got it working. I thought, hey, let's check it out. We'll do it. Maybe I'll do this as a intermittent series throughout the month. But yeah, I felt like it's appropriate for Shocktober. If you've never read the book, 10 people are invited to come stay on an island, and by one they start getting killed off. Anyway, let's start the game. Oh, FMV, or pre-rendered video. I have no idea what to expect here, by the way. I have not played this at all in advance.
I hope my son's antics don't disturb you.
Madam, were it in my power to sentence him to 30 days hard labor, they would not disturb me in the slightest.
Smashing day for it. On holiday?
No.
Oh, Leslie. It isn't true. Oh, beg pardon, ma'am.
Miss.
Yes, of course, yes. Have to be, wouldn't it? Damn fool. I suppose I'll be expected to tend to his wounds after he piles up, and I don't feel that.
I can actually already tell who each of these characters is supposed to be. This is actually really good so far. As corny as the animation is. It is that, you know, early 2000s goodness.
No one injured, at least. No apparent damage to the cars. Young fool must lead a charmed life.
That's the lot. My money's on the servants. The servant's usually always the guilty one in the end.
Welcome to Sticklehaven, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Davis, the Harbour Master.
Sorry. Waiting for me.
That's everyone then. The other bags are already on board the boat there.
Blimey. It must be him. In the flesh.
All set, Nericot.
Ready, sir.
Right. I'll leave it to you then. Sea's calm. Should be a pleasant crossing. If you leave now, there's a squall coming. I can smell it.
Why is it called Shipwreck Island?
Well, the weather can turn nasty quickly. There are many submerged rocks, lots of wrecks hereabouts, and that big rock at the tip is said to resemble a beached schooner. The locals call it Ship Rock.
You're not from around these parts, then, Mr. Narracott?
No, sir, I'm not.
Interesting.
Never work.
In the modern adaptation, it's actually called Soldier Island. I'm wondering why they've changed the name.
If you would be so good as to follow that path up to the house, my wife will show you to your rooms. I expect you'd all like to freshen up after your journey. Where's Fred?
Under the weather. I took his place.
You'd be the brother then. I see the resemblance. Will you help me with the bags?
Yes. I've been hoping to get a look at the house.
Chapter 1. 10 little sailor boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there
Number
were
9. Okay, so now I understand why it's called Shipwreck Island, because they've changed what the figurines are yet again.
Everything and everyone nicely in place. I must say, I don't much like these clouds. I expect you should be heading back without delay.
Now it begins. Don't worry, Fred. I won't let you down. Just a drizzle. It's going to get much worse.
Okay, so I was wondering how this is supposed to be interactive, and for anybody thinking, oh well, you've read the book, you've seen the adaptations, you must already know how it's going to come out. That's one thing that intrigued me about playing this game, is they've changed the story in certain ways to make this interactive. I'm now playing the boat captain that ferries the characters over to the island, and he only figures it into the book at the beginning and at the end. So, yeah, this is interesting already. Okay, that's kind of a creepy icon.
I don't think he's in the mood for conversation.
Okay. Well, let's see where we go. So yes, in the
I should return to my boat to retrieve some supplies before I begin any real investigating.
Okay. So in the current version of the book, and most modern adaptations, it's referred to as Soldier Island because there is the rhyme: 10 little soldier boys went out to dine. One went and choked himself, and then there were 9. But they've apparently changed that to Sailor Boys here, so it's Shipwreck Island instead of Sailor Island. And I see the boat has sunk, so I'm pretty much fucking stuck here.
Returning to the mainland now.
Figures. Give me a moment to see what our options are here. Okay, so I have a notepad, it looks like. Island got its name of being shaped like a wrecked ship. It's also drowned more than a few unwary boats in its day. Apparently the only guest I know about is Henry Blore. He was the man who framed my brother, I'm certain of it. Interesting. Okay, that's different from the original as well. Don't have any docks, don't have any books. Okay. And this would be my inventory, or since we're in London, inventory. I hate that pronunciation.
Mr. Narracott, why are you still on the island?
Someone scuttled my boat.
Scuttled? Wrecked, you mean? But who on earth would do such a thing?
I intend to find out.
But that means, Who will come for us on Monday?
Unless this storm lets up, no one.
Dear me, dear me. Come in, come in. You'll get your death out here. I must help my wife prepare dinner. I'll have her fix you up something in the kitchen.
Thank you.
Where he's going to sleep, I'll never know. Ethel won't like this one bit.
Ooh, looks like I can take a cane here or something. What do we have? A walking stick with a bare head's handle.
You're shot, Judge.
Yes. You haven't left me much, I confess.
I knew judges listened to confessions. I never knew they made them as well.
Oh, some judges may have cause. Some doctors as well, I expect.
May I ask you a question? This is not a time for idle chatter. Locked.
What does the judge have to say?
May I interrupt for a moment?
Please, Mr. Narracott, this is a time for concentration, not conversation.
Okay, apparently they don't want to talk.
I can't open it. It's locked.
Ooh, flashlight. One, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Ten little sailor boys. Charming. A place for everything, and everything in its place.
Is there no exit to... Ah, here we go. It's like, there's gotta be an exit to the kitchen, right?
It'll never work, I tell you. We should never have agreed. A house party only a week after we arrive? And no other help?
Ethel, calm yourself.
You promised me. Never again, you said.
How was I to know? Oh, Mr. Narracott. Ethel will be preparing you a meal in here once the guests are served.
I don't need to lug this around with me. No need to call unnecessary attention to my snooping.
Interesting. I don't know if you could see it. There's a little outline around what I can interact with. I haven't noticed that on any of the screen. Wonder if that's a bit of a glitch due to how I had to get this all working. Yeah, I see one here as well, just very faintly.
Copper pots, just as I'd expect. The refrigerator hardly seems large enough for a house of this size.
Actually, I wanted to talk to the Rogers real quick and find out they have any information.
Mr. Rogers, I was wondering if I might have a word.
Perhaps you'd find one of the guests with more free time to chat. None of them are doing any work.
Okay. Well, in that case, we'll go out this way and see who we can run into. Probably... Guessing the only one I'm going to get any chatter out of is Vera Claythorne. Maybe. No!
That isn't such a good idea.
Okay, so I guess I don't need a turkey baster of whatever that is. That was an odd door sound. Okay, well, if we're gonna go upstairs, I'm about to go up this way. Some of these camera angles leave a little something to be desired.
Would you just look at all these silk sheets? All embroidered GS. I'll bet that was that actress who used to live here. I've dropped them on this filthy floor.
Can I give you a hand, Mrs. Rogers?
Thank you, Mr. Narracott. You seem like a good sort. I'm sorry for your boat. I can't think what Mr. Rogers would say if dinner was late.
Probably something none too kind.
It's locked fast. Locked. I don't think going through that would help. Either he's innocent, in which case I'd be grossly invading his privacy, or he's guilty, and surely wouldn't be daft enough to leave any evidence in his luggage.
Armstrong's letter of invitation. How do I read it? I want to read it, damn it. Oh.
I copied the contents into my notebook.
Okay. Why didn't we just do that when we picked it up? Dear Dr. Armstrong, you come highly recommended to me by your esteemed colleague, Dr. William Weathersby of Harley Street. I have a great favor to ask. My wife's health appears to be deteriorating. She has for many years now been plagued by arthritis to a very severe sort, and more recently I have observed short bouts of uncontrollable muscle spasms I am unable to explain. Yet she won't hear of seeing a doctor. I was very much hoping you could join the little weekend party we had planned for August 8th at our home on Shipwreck Island in South Devon. If you are amenable, a boat will call for you at Sticklehaven to ferry you to the short distance to our little hideaway. Please accept the enclosed check of £200, a small initial retainer. I know you will be able to help her. I promise you your efforts will not go unrewarded. Sincerely, U.N. Owen. Thomas Rogers, the butler. Seems an efficient chap. I walked in on him having a row with his wife. She seemed quite upset at the prospect of certain events repeating themselves. The butler's wife. She seems quite put out about this whole affair. I overheard her arguing with her husband about the trouble of dealing with so many guests at short notice. She indicated that this wasn't her first time in such a situation. Yeah, Henry Blower, he's the man who framed my brother, I'm certain of it. Anthony Marsden. A young reckless fool. Luckily, there aren't any roads on the island. Yes, that's a good thing indeed.
Nothing out of order in here. I'd best not take anything, though. I'm sure he would notice.
I'd best not take that. He might need it and would certainly notice its absence.
Guessing we'll probably get that later.
Locked.
Oh, right, that's how I came in.
I can't open it. It's locked.
That's how I got out here. Sorry for running around in circles. These camera angles don't exactly help figuring out where I'm going.
It's locked fast.
My wife is indisposed, not receiving visitors today.
Your wife, sir?
What?
Your wife?
My wife, yes. Leslie. I'm sorry, my boy. I was wool gathering, miles away. My apologies. Must dress for dinner now. Send my orderly to me, if you will. No, that's not right. What was I thinking? I must get ready for dinner now.
Now, they may have changed the setting, but if we're in London, or somewhere in England, it doesn't really make sense for a general of the UK to be wearing a purple heart, which is what he's wearing on his chest.
Yes? Oh, Mr. Narracott, I had a question for you. Have you heard anything in Sticklehaven about this house being set up as a guest house?
No, Miss Brent.
No. Mrs. Rogers hasn't either. And who are the Owens?
I haven't met them yet.
Would it surprise you to learn neither have Mr. and Mrs. Rogers? It's odd. Very odd. If you'll excuse me, Mr. Narracott, I must make dinner preparations. Oh, Mr. Narracott, I thought that you'd left us.
Someone scuttled my boat.
Oh, but that's dreadful. Surely the harbour master will send another boat when you're missed.
Not in this storm, I'm afraid. And even then, it won't be reported.
Why ever not?
My brother. He knew I might not be immediately back.
I'm terribly sorry for your trouble. The Owens should be arriving shortly. I'm sure you can get a ride back in that boat. If you'll excuse me, I must get ready for dinner.
Narracott? I thought you'd be long gone by now. That storm's getting pretty fierce.
Somebody scuttled my boat.
I saw Blore watching you like a hawk eyes its dinner. Could it have been him?
Possibly.
Any idea why?
I'd rather not say.
Suit yourself. I'd better get ready for dinner.
This clock has stopped.
What time is it?
Stopped.
Looks like it's 9, maybe.
Tile and marble. quite expensive from the look of it. This window leads out to the balcony. This window leads out to the balcony. I can't open it. It's locked. I copied the contents into my notebook.
Mr. Henry Bloor, as an ex-CID man and now private detective, you come highly recommended to me. It's my wife's jewels, you see. She simply won't keep them locked up in the safe. And this house party we have coming up has got me worried, I can tell you. The instructions are as follows. Join the house party my wife and I are giving on the weekend of August 8th on Shipwreck Island off Sticklehaven. Pose as a guest and keep your eyes on the other guest. Dr. Edward Armstrong, a Harley Street man, quite well thought of, I believe. Emily Brent, a spinster lady of strong moral beliefs. Vera Claythorne, my wife's new secretary. Philip Lombard, something of an adventurer, I believe. General Mackenzie, a retired military man. Okay, they've renamed... This is a thing... In the original story, he's named General MacArthur, and in modern adaptations, he's still called General MacArthur, but earlier adaptations changed it to Mackenzie so as to not confuse it with the U.S. General of the Armies, Douglas MacArthur. Long story. Anyway, Anthony Marsden, the sportsman, a younger son of a minor dukedom, long way from any worthwhile title or any worthwhile occupation from the sound of him. Judge Wargrave, recently retired, supposed to be an absolute tyrant in the courtroom. A rum lot, if you ask me, but they are my wife's guests, so I am stuck with them. There is also a butler and housekeeper by the name of Thomas and Ethel Rogers. We hire them through the Regina Agency in Plymouth. They seem to be trustworthy enough, but who knows? Keep an eye on them all, and the jewels I'm sure my wife will have on display at every possible opportunity. I'm enclosed what I understand is your standard retainer. The weekend goes without incident, there will be a sizable bonus as well. Yours truly, Ulrich Norman Owen.
Once a bent copper, always a bent copper. Right, Fred?
You're talking through your hat. You were the Purcell gang's inside man on the force, not my brother.
Your brother? Don't try to kid me, Fred. There's still a handsome reward out for you.
Fred is my brother. I'm Patrick Fane.
No reason for me to believe you that I can see. There's still a big reward out for Fred Fane.
You scuttled my boat to trap me here.
You recognized me, too. I saw it in your eyes.
Only because Davis showed Fred the passenger list yesterday. I came in my brother's place. We didn't think you might mistake me for him. Fred is 8 years older than me. Look closely, Bloor.
You do look young. I noticed that. Thought it must be the sea air.
You were taking the Purcells' bribes for years. After the Landor case, people began to ask questions. The Purcells needed what the Yank detective novels call a fall guy. My brother was framed. You were in the clear.
Your whole story sounds like a detective novel.
I've never stopped trying to clear Fred's name and put you in Dartmoor prison where you belong. Thanks to your greed, I may now have that chance.
Maybe you're Patrick, maybe you're Fred. I don't know, and I don't much care. You're either a criminal, or you've been harboring one all these years. I wonder what my fellow guests will think of that. Go on, Mr. Narracott. Hop it. I need to prepare for dinner.
That sounds like the dinner bell.
Mr. Narracott, unfortunately, we are not prepared for your presence at dinner. I would be most happy to deliver you a sandwich later this evening, if that will do.
That will be fine, Rogers. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, if you will excuse me, I must get to serving.
By all means. I can hear them all in the dining room chattering. I can't quite make out what they're saying. This might be a good time to explore the house more thoroughly. Aha! With my ear against the door, the conversation becomes quite clear.
Wine, Doctor?
No, thank you, Rogers. I never touch alcohol. Except for sterilizing wounds or instruments, of course.
I tried to collect some apples from an orchard on the island, but a bee stung me. I'm afraid I dropped the basket and ran. No need to apologize. I myself am dreadfully allergic to bees, wasps, hornets. I'm sorry to hear there are bees here. Oh, you must take care. There's all sorts of those bee house things. What do you call it?
An apiary.
Oh, I thought that was for monkeys.
Ethel.
Miss Claythorne, we've never met, but I do seem to recall your name.
Oh?
Yes, from when I stayed at that stuffy old hotel near St. Trednick. Do you know it?
No. No, I don't think so.
Really? How extraordinary. I was so shocked.
Narracott says he's not Fred Fane, but his brother. It may well be, but he bears watching.
Seems like such a nice man.
They said the same thing about Stevenson, the child murderer. I confess I've never met our host, Mr. Owen. What kind of a man is he? Rogers?
We haven't seen the Owens either, sir. We were only engaged a week ago by letter and asked to make the house ready.
So no one has actually met the Owens.
How extraordinary.
I, for one, will have some sharp questions for the Owens when they do arrive.
Okay, so none of our guests know who our hosts, the Owens, are. And yeah, they've definitely changed a few things to insert Narracott, or I guess Fred Fane, into the story. Which, great, that's a subplot. I have no idea, what it's, how that's going to develop. So I'm guessing I want to collect everybody's letters here. Oh, I couldn't go in here before. Oh, wait, was this the bathroom? It was, yeah. Aha, somebody's letters over here.
I copied the contents into my notebook.
Okay, so this is Judge Wargrave's room then. Wargrave's letter. Dearest Lawrence, it's been such a year since I heard anything of you. I'm back in England and have just purchased a marvelously odd, thoroughly modern home on Shipwreck Island off South Devon. You must come for the weekend. It's an enchanting place, we have so much to catch up on. The old days, communing with nature, although, of course, it has always been more my line. Get out of that stuffy flat and come back to the sunshine with me and a few other amusing guests, take the weekend of August 8th. You take the 12:40 from Paddington, change at Plymouth for Oakridge. A car will meet you there. I won't take no for an answer. Yours ever, Constance Culmington. This is the doctor's room, which you've already been in. This is Blora's room, and I wanted to read the diary.
I transcribed the pertinent passages in my notebook.
Okay, Blora's notebook. So he's got a list of the guests. He doesn't know really who Philip Lombard is. Flourishing practice in Harley Street. Rumor of some misstep early in his career, but now highly regarded by his colleagues and patients. Very well-to-do. Unlikely jewel thief. Emily Brent. Spinster with enough private means to keep her comfortable. Makes frequent pilgrimages to various watering holes. Stays in moderate accommodations. Some scandal attached to one of her former servant girls. But the old lady is clean. Long shot to be a jewel thief. Vera Claythorne. Former governess until the charge died in her care. Unsuccessful trying to find a teaching position. Hired as Mrs. Owens' secretary. Hard to pronounce she might have sticky fingers around her employer's possession. Bears watching. Philip Lombard. Checkered army career. Something of a mercenary. Enjoys living higher than he can afford. Probably wouldn't hesitate at a bit of larceny if the opportunity presented itself. General John Mackenzie. Long retired. Distinguished army record. Some rumors concerning his wife and a young officer who later died in action at the Great War. That's World War I for you youngins. Wife also deceased. Not my first choice for a thief, though you can never tell when the old one mind started to go. Anthony Marston, rich brat, old family, youngest son, though so no title or status in his future. Playboy, right-wing politics. Never see him in the trenches if it comes to war with Germany again. Might steal on a bet, I suppose. Justice Lawrence Wargrave. Distinguished jurist, ruled his court like a private fiefdom, respected, but not liked by colleagues. Sent more than a few villains to the gallows. Not a man to get on the wrong side of. If he's a jewel thief, I'll eat my hat. Thomas and Ethel Rogers, former employer, died. Inquest was a bit rough on them, but their inheritance wasn't much, so no charges brought. Most likely suspects if jewels go missing. New servants, big temptation, particularly if their expectations were higher before this other employer died. August 8th, 4 p.m. I come down here to do a bit of work, and who do I find running the bleeding boat? Fred Narracott. I don't think he recognized me. We only saw each other a couple of times when we were on the force together before he has little trouble. Still, with a warrant for his arrest, and that tidy reward, too, I'll have to trap him here on the island where I can keep an eye on him. He may even be an accomplice in the planned theft. He won't be getting away with any jewels while I'm on the job. First things first, I need to put that boat out of commission before he finishes bringing up the bags. Okay, so Blur thinks we're somebody that we're not. Our brother, who seems to be a former colleague. Alright, this is somebody else's room.
I guess Owen made sure no clocks in the house are working. This one is stopped. I copied the contents into my notebook.
Oh. Captain Lombard, let this serve as a formal agreement between us. As I mentioned by telephone, it is understood by my client that you are a resourceful man in a tight place, as you proved several years ago in East Africa and more than a few times elsewhere in various other corners of the world. You may rest assured my client knows your accomplishments very well. I'm empowered to pay you the enclosed 100 guineas in return for which you will travel to Sticklehaven, Devon, on August 8th, where a motor launch will convey you to the shipwreck island. There you will hold yourself at the disposal of my client for not more than 1 week. Sincerely, Archibald Morris, Solicitor. Gray's Inn.
It would certainly be noticed if I rifled through his luggage. I better not. A hawk with a fish in its talons. The bird theme is starting to get to me.
Okay, I guess I'm just taking a telescope with me for later.
That's an interesting clock. A shame it doesn't seem to work.
That tells me whose room this is. Maybe, I don't know. What is this?
I copied the contents into my notebook.
Found a newspaper clipping in Vera's bedroom. It reads as follows. August 12th, 1935. Cyril Hamilton, aged 8, has drowned after a swimming accident off the coast near Plymouth. He was being watched by his governess, Miss Vera Claythorne, but swam out too far before he could be stopped. Police have questioned her and the child's brother, Hugo Hamilton, aged 24, who was also present at the time. Both were found innocent of any negligence. It goes on to mention funeral arrangements and an address for donations. None of that is my concern.
This is a fairly sparse makeup case. Vera isn't the type to use much makeup, though. I copied the contents into my notebook.
Oh, Claythorne's letter. Dear Miss Claythorne, I have received your name from a skilled women's agency together with their recommendation. I understand they know you personally. I should be glad to pay you the salary you ask and shall expect you to take your duties as my secretary on August 8th. The train is the 12:40 from Paddington and you will be met at Oak Ridge Station. I enclose £5 notes for expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen.
I think I recognize this lady. Perhaps she owned the house in the past. Who knows? She may still.
Actually, let's explore the bathroom. It's a different bathroom.
This could use a closer look.
Oop.
Let me examine this further.
Medical alert card. To whom it may concern, please be advised that my client, Miss Emily Caroline Brent, is extremely allergic to insect stings, most particularly bees and wasps. She carries with her a supply of epinephrine. The dosage on the label must be injected immediately should she be stung, and professional medical attention summoned without delay. Dr. Marbury Motes, I guess?
Various toiletries. Nothing of interest that I can see.
Seems like this is in a slightly more modern setting than the original, but still like not really modern day. Just based on clothes and various things.
It would certainly be noticed if I rifled through her luggage. I'd better not.
Alright, this is probably Miss Brent's room.
This is quite a makeup supply. Emily must be more concerned with aging than she lets on. I can't see anything of interest. I copied the contents into my notebook.
Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you remember me. We were together at Bellhaven Guest House in August some years ago. We seem to have so much in common. I'm starting a guest house of my own on an island off the coast of Devon. I think there really is an opening for a place where there is good, plain cooking and a nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and gramophones half the night. What's wrong with nudity and gramophones half the night? Like, you got a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that. I should be very glad if you can see your way to spending your summer holiday on Shipwreck Island, free as my guest. Would early in August suit you? Perhaps the 8th? Yours sincerely, U.N. Owen. Okay, let's see. I found Armstrong, Wargrave, Brent, Claythorne, Bloor, and Lombard's agreements. I need Marsden. Probably not Rogers, because he probably has it himself. But I would need Marsden, and who am I missing here? I guess the general's letter, which...
I copied the contents into my notebook.
Dear General Mackenzie, I'm giving a little house party here on Shipwreck Island on the 8th of August. A couple of your old cronies are coming. Spoof Leggard and Johnny Dyer. Those can't be real names. They suggested I invite you as well. They mentioned they would love to have a talk with you about your days together during the Great War. Something about finally clearing the air? Owing you an apology? None of my business, of course, but they especially wanted me to add that last bit. Beyond that, the weather is lovely this time of year. I'm sure I can promise you a relaxing and entertaining weekend. By the by, if you've heard the rumors, they're true. The island was used by the Admiralty before we bought it. All very hush-hush. Spoof and Johnny no more. Take the train to Oak Ridge. A car will meet you there. Very truly yours, U.N. Owen.
I see nothing remarkable.
Let me examine this further.
Let's see. Eastern Alliance Telegram. This is rather hard to read. I don't know if that's a resolution issue or if... Oh, it's a coded message, so I suppose we won't be able to do anything with it for the time being.
Some things once done cannot be undone.
Guessing I think that must be a way to combine things.
I copied the contents into my notebook.
Tony! Get out your dinner jacket and polish your shoes. I've nosed out an invitation for us for the August 8th weekend. The Owens. You don't know them. New money, I'm afraid. They do well in drinks and dinner, and are usually a few sweet young things about to spice up the scenery. You can try out that new motor of yours on the winding lanes of Devon. I'll be along later. If you don't pile it up again, get thee to Sticklehaven. Just head south until you hit water. Boat will be waiting. Your never humble servant, Badger Berkeley.
Let me examine this further.
King James, Song of Solomon 3.
I see nothing remarkable. I can't get them to fit.
Okay, so I was right. That is for combining stuff. Okay, so it seems like... Oh, maybe this and then this? There we go.
This is certainly a clue of some sort. I copied the contents into my notebook.
Okay, I sort of did that without explaining what I was doing. So I had a clue that said certain passage in the King James Bible. I combined that with the King James Bible and the coded message that I picked up a minute ago. And that gave us I decoded this cryptic but rather indicting missive I find in Marsden's room. Marsden, submarine in place, continue to objective. Secure beacon on buoy off west shore. Certain homing engaged. Red light must be blank. Additional search island for signs of British intel. Our agent reported safe house and combination left 28, right 11, left 49. Report test base for new weapon in grotto. Access point unknown. Investigate and signal when ready for pickup. Zig Heil end. Marsden a spy. I never would have suspected. That's twist. This totally nothing within. So we're obviously between World War I and II, if not in the midst of World War II.
Nothing else to see about that.
And one of the guests is a German spy, which is totally not a thing in the original. So I'm actually really intrigued here about where this goes. Okay, let's see if we can get to some action before we wrap this up, but let me see if it'll let me go through his bag here. Anything? Okay, why will it let me get that up close and personal with his bag, but I can't do anything. Okay. I think I've gone through all the rooms now.
Aha! With my ear against the door, the conversation becomes quite clear.
Did anyone else see the poem over the fireplace?
10 Little Sailor Boys. Yes, I saw it. And here before us as the centerpiece of our table are the 10 little sailor boys themselves, all looking correct and polished.
I like a neat and tidy house, Your Honor.
Robson, the man who built this house, was a sailor. Perhaps Mr. Owen inherited them from him.
Another question for Mr. Owen.
As I remember, the rhyme was about soldier boys. Highly inappropriate, as I recall.
There are many variations.
You seem to know quite a bit about it, Miss Claythorne.
I was a governess before seeking secretarial work. Governesses spend a lot of time with nursery rhymes.
All gratuitously gruesome, if you ask me. So much violence in the world today.
Sometimes violence is necessary, Miss Brent.
There speaks a soldier for you.
A realist, Miss Brent, not a dreamer. If action needs to be taken, I, for one, am fully prepared to take it.
How does the famous rhyme go, Miss Claythorne?
Must we harp on this topic at dinner?
Miss Brent may be right, Mr. Marston. The rhyme is a bit gruesome. It's there over the fireplace in the parlor if you care to have a look later.
If you think so. Excellent meal, Rogers. My compliments to both you and your good woman. You've done your employers proud.
Thank you, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Most gratifying, I'm sure. After dinner, drinks will be served in the front parlor.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence please. This is your host, UN Owen. You are charged with the following indictments. Edward George Armstrong, that you did upon the 14th day of March 1925 cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleese. Emily Caroline Brent, that upon the 5th of November 1931 you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. William Henry Blore, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor on October 10th, 1928. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that on the 11th day of August 1935 you killed Cyril Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that upon a date in February 1932 you were guilty of the death of 21 men. members of an East African tribe, John Gordon Mackenzie, that on the 4th of January 1917, you deliberately sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that upon the 14th day of November last, you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs, Thomas Rogers, and Ethel Rogers, that on the 6th of May 1929, you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady, Lawrence John Wargrave, that upon the 10th day of June 1934, you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
Doctor! I only fainted, Rogers. I'm sure she'll be fine. Narracott, will you get my bag from my room? Yes, of course. Stout fellow. Marston, in a moment I'll want help to get her to her room. Of course. Behind the kitchen, is it, Rogers?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You can use that door.
Okay, so there you have it. Oh, another cutscene. Okay, maybe I want to be moving a little faster if I'm supposed to be getting a medical bag. Alright, we're just about an hour. I'm actually going to go ahead and cut it here. So that's a little preview of the beginning of this. I think I will do at least one more episode of this, probably for next weekend. Because, yeah, I really want to see where this goes with them adding in these extra plot lines and whatnot. But yeah, so everybody's been invited to this house, but it turns out nobody knows the people that invited them. And they've all been accused of murder. I'm going to leave it there for now. So, hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Shocktober content. Until next time, you stay classy, Internet.